Hey everyone, remember 2017? We were all enjoying Legion at the time. BlizzCon arrived, we had Battle for Azeroth announced with its awesome trailer, and then we also got this happening.
Your favorite flavor is vanilla.
Yeah, Classic World of Warcraft was official. A year later, Blizzard says that they want to recreate a perfectly authentic version of vanilla, and a year after that, we finally got the final product. And obviously, why stop there if it worked? But Blizzard did a lot of mistakes along the way, and by a lot, I mean a ton. Some of these were broadly excusable, but some others were straight up dodgy. From promises not kept, refusing to fix things that are killing the game, to ignoring a plague that is still destroying the game till this day. Today, we're gonna go over 10 horrific fails that Blizzard did with Classic since its inception in 2019, and all the way until today in TBC. Let's get into it. So as we said at the start, Classic WoW was first announced at BlizzCon 2017. From there until the next year at BlizzCon 2018, we had very little communication, but that was fine because people knew that there would be some crazy amount of info dropping at BlizzCon 2018. And there was a summer 2019 release date, design philosophy, the first images of the game. We even got to play a demo at home for buying a virtual ticket. But in BlizzCon 2018 also came in the content release schedule. That's when things started to look weird for Classic. Blizzard announced only 4 phases of content, with some of them containing 2 raids at once and just a ton of content packaged together. It was clear to the community that if Classic WoW was gonna live for 1.5 to 2 years, this content release schedule was not gonna cut it. There would be too much content crammed and too big of a gap between the content phases. In fairness to Blizzard here, they very quickly listened to the community on that one, and they rethought their plans, and we got what we're familiar with, the 6 phases of content. But if they would have went with their initial plans, Classic WoW would not have been so enjoyable to play as it was. Proof that listening to the community pays out. We'll give Blizzard a 1 out of 10 fail rating on that one. They did change it at the end. So, it's August 27. Everyone is at their PC ready to sink in days, weeks, or even months into Classic. The servers launched, and we got hours of queues instantly. This could be a fail on its own, but I think no matter how much you can plan in advance, there's nothing Blizzard could have done to prepare for the explosive launch of Classic. 1 million concurrent views on Twitch, millions and millions of people resubbing to the game literally became mainstream for weeks on end after launch. But I think the biggest fail that Classic had at the time was once people reached level 60. They quickly realized that this game was not what they expected it was gonna be. Molten Core was cleared by the guild Apes in just 4 days after launch. So was Onyxia shortly after. And you may think, sure, that's a hardcore guild. The raids must be hard for the rest of the players, right? Well, no, they were disgustingly easy. Indeed, in a desire to keep the game as authentic as possible, Blizzard left the health, damage, and mechanics of all the bosses untouched. Pair to that the fact that the game is based on the latest patch with the stronger talents and gear overall, and as a result, you get guilds clearing Molten Core in an hour tops every week. In fairness to Blizzard again here, the community did ask for this. They wanted pure authenticity, and they got what they wanted. People are still divided today as to whether Blizzard should have buffed the content for Classic, and there's people debating whether Blizzard should do that for the fresh Classic servers that are rumored to be released eventually. But either way, the game being that easy did lead to a lot of players losing interest and leaving as soon as they joined. A 2 out of 10 fail for Blizzard on that one. Okay, so despite the game being incredibly easy at the endgame, one thing that was flourishing despite there being no reward structure for it yet is PvP. PvP was incredibly fun at the start of Classic. People were still relearning the ropes of their classes, and you literally had organized tournaments taking place on Twitch during that time. But that was soon going to change. Enter Phase 2. Structured honor system, PvP rewards stronger than any gear in the game currently and for a very long time. Honor grind, organized world PvP, there's a lot that Phase 2 promised to bring to the game, but unfortunately, it actually almost killed the game. You see, when Phase 2 was released, it was released on its own. We had no battlegrounds in the game yet, so the only way to farm honor and thus get that sweet rank 10, 12, 14 gear was to gank people in the outside world for hours on end. That was the only way. And remember, we're still very early in the game at this point. People are still leveling either their main character or their alts eventually. And obviously, people had many reasons to be in the outside world. To farm gold, go to the raids, or just level. But Phase 2 just put an end to all of that. People would just sit there ganking everyone 24/7. It was so bad that Blizzard split the BGs out of Phase 3 and released them early to cut short the surge of ganking and mass exodus that Phase 2 was creating. But the damage was done already by then. 4 out of 10 fail for Blizzard on that one. You'll start to see, by the way, that from now on, it gets gradually worse. That's because unfortunately, Blizzard is starting to get more and more disconnected the longer the game went on for. So, along with Phase 2 also came in world bosses. Well, at least just 2 of them at that point. Azuragos and Kazakh. Those were really fun, but they were some very exclusive pieces of content. I'd say that 99% of players never got to even see Kazakh or Azuragos up close, let alone kill them. But world bosses were fine, no real issue tied to them. No, the real issue was the promise we were given about them, and the fact that we would never ever have 2 Kazakhs or Azuragos active at once. Blizzard was obviously talking about layering. You see, layering was a technology that was necessary to deal with the huge influx of players at the start. Without it, servers would be crashing and lagging left and right at the launch and be completely unplayable. For those who don't know, real quick, layering is supposed to create multiple copies of the world in a given server and spread the players across them to not make the game lag. And that came with a whole bunch of problems tied to it, like the fact that you'd have double, triple, or as many times as there is layers, the resources and the mobs that a server is supposed to have at once. For this reason, layering was meant to be a temporary thing. Ian Hazzikostas himself said at multiple occasions that they plan on disabling layering before Phase 2 releases, and that there would never ever be 2 Kazakhs active at once on a given server. Well, that was a straight up broken promise, because layering kept going in Phase 2 and well into Phase 3. Guilds were layer hopping to kill world bosses twice and so on. 6 out of 10 fail on that one for Blizzard. Okay, so Classic is running for a few months now. We're like half a year into it. The game is still flourishing despite Phase 2 kind of destroying the player base, but the game is still going. And that's when we start to see the rise of the first bots. It took some time for them to be developed, obviously, but now they're here, and it's obvious that they're here. The first bots were mainly farming Stratholme life site for righteous orbs. Just doing a /who Stratholme would make that extremely obvious to everyone. But bots themselves are something that is bound to happen for any popular online game. As long as your game will be successful, people will want to cheat, cut corners, or profit out of it themselves. That's just the nature of the beast. The issue isn't the fact that it happened. The issue is Blizzard's response to it, which was basically inexistent. Bots were roaming free for months and months on end, and it was very clear that nothing was being done to make the situation better from Blizzard's end. The economy was getting destroyed day after day by the same bots, and no matter how much you reported them, you would always see the same names in Stratholme or Marathon over and over again. I think Willy made more videos about bots than Bellular makes lore videos when a new cinematic releases, and that's saying a lot. So, bots destroyed the economy for months and months on end until Blizzard finally decided to start acting on it, just a little. They released their infamous blue post about the fact that they actually deal with bots after all the backlash was happening from the community. But even after that, that was clearly not enough, because it was obvious just by doing a /who Blackrock Depths or /who Dire Maul that bots were still plaguing the game. And you know what? This is still happening until this day in TBC. 7 out of 10 fail for Blizzard here. Please have your GMs do a /who, teleporting and banning people manually, Blizzard. Alright, so by now it's phase 5. We got to sink our teeth in Blackwing Lair, Zul'Gurub, we ranked the Gong to Ahn'Qiraj, and we finally took down Cthulhu. And now we're waiting for what's next. And obviously, that small game called Shadowlands. I hear it's gonna be a great expansion, I have no doubt. So, Shadowlands gets a release date announced and people are hyped for it. So are Classic players, obviously. It's a new expansion. They already have a running sub from Classic, and every expansion's launch, no matter how bad the expansion is always amazing. But Classic WoW players are also anxious for Naxxramas. When is it gonna release? How much time am I gonna have to enjoy Shadowlands before going back to Classic to do Naxxramas? The answer? 1 week and 4 days. Shadowlands released on November 23rd, and Naxxramas on December 3rd. Well, actually, Phase 6 itself launched on December 1st, so if you wanted to prepare for Naxx, you actually had 1 week to enjoy Shadowlands. Yeah. This was one of the most disappointing things that Blizzard did for its players. We always knew that Classic would have to clash with retail from time to time, and that it would be tough to an extent to enjoy both games at once. But we never expected Blizzard to launch a whole expansion and Naxxramas, the most anticipated raid of Classic WoW, 1 week apart from each other. 8 out of 10 fail for Blizzard here. Inexcusable and up there with some of the most disappointing moves that Blizzard ever made. Alright, fine. We got to enjoy Shadowlands, we got to enjoy Naxx, Classic WoW is now over, and we're looking forward for what's next. Burning Crusade, obviously. The first official word we had about Burning Crusade was not actually in BlizzCon itself. Actually, it was through a leaked press kit that was mistakenly published on Blizzard's press website a few days before BlizzCon 2021. Oopsie. That could be a fail on its own, to be honest, but whatever. So, Burning Crusade is announced in BlizzConline, and it's exactly what we expected it to be. Blizzard actually says that they're gonna make a whole lot of changes this time to accommodate for modern players and to make the game more enjoyable for everyone. For example, they plan on releasing Draenei and Blood Elves during the pre-patch to give everyone time to level to 60 in time before Burning Crusade. People are hyped. A month or two go by, the pre-patch date is announced, and then the full game date is announced. Oh, wait, something is wrong here. The pre-patch only lasts 2 weeks. The whole point of giving Draenei and Blood Elves early during pre-patch is to give people enough time to level to 60 and be ready for the game. But hey, listen, Q2 is coming to an end, and we have to have that shareholder meeting at the end of June. What's that? We told the player base we would give them time to level their characters? Well, that sure sounds like a you problem, Brian. The game is releasing on June 1st. This is just a classic Blizzard move there. Shareholders before the community. I'll give Blizzard a 9 out of 10 on that one. Alright, now, here's the most outrageous thing that Blizzard ever did for Classic, and I think some of you might have guessed what it is by now. So, the whole point of Classic was to be this authentic recreation of the game. No ridiculous monetization practices from modern games, just the game on its pure form. Except we're gonna add a level 58 boost and call it the Dark Portal Pass. We're also gonna have players pay us $35 to copy their characters. Wait, sorry, $15. And the cherry on top, we're gonna have a deluxe edition that will bundle all these things together and cost $70. It will also give you an exclusive mount, a toy, and an obnoxious Hearthstone. In all seriousness, this is probably the last straw for a lot of people. The Classic product was supposed to offer us the game as it was and make us forget even temporarily how ridiculously over-monetized retail is. It was supposed to be the game as it was and nothing more. But instead, we got that. The character boost is even called the Dark Portal Pass, for God's sake. 10 out of 10 fail for Blizzard here. And that's everything on my list. Unfortunately, as you may have noticed, the deeper we got into the timeline of Classic, the more outrageous the mistakes became from Blizzard. My only hope is that Blizzard learns from this and that we see a shift in direction eventually soon. There's still a lot of things that I haven't mentioned here, and probably even more things that I'm forgetting. So if you guys remember a fail that Blizzard did in the past regarding Classic, please leave it in the comments and I'll maybe include it in another video in the future, similar to this one. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.